Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Why are we late? We're never ever late. And why are we late?
man, you can't rush perfection. I'm just telling you, man.
Did you say you can't rust perfection?
Can't rush perfection.
Well, just to let you guys know, we had an important phone call that we needed to be on for something, and we got tied up with something. But we have completely prepared, or we're
Yes,
going
we
to show
are.
you the illusion that we prepared for
No, we're
episode number
prepared.
44 this time
Like,
around.
now we're on episode 43, but like an old girlfriend used to say, we can be late or we can be pretty. So it's just we're gonna make this one look really nice, Miles.
That's
I
I
feel
would
good.
not want to. I would not
That
want to
extra.
date her or you if you're both late. So that's just the way those things happen. So we apologize to everybody for being a few minutes late, but we are here and we are ready to party. Yeah, so we're
Party.
gonna party tonight, and we're gonna party pretty hardy. And I made that rhyme. Didn't even try. But we got a great show coming to you tonight. We are going to be going over a lot here tonight. Mike, tell them what they've won.
On this episode of Nissan Nerd Podcast, we're going to be talking about Nissan investing $500 million into its Mississippi plant to further their development of the EV vehicle line. Nismo reveals its livery for the 2022 Super GT season. And later on, we're going to be talking about the life of a salvage yard junkie here on the Nissan Nerd Podcast. Thanks for being with us. Let's do it.
I noticed you changed the beginning of our show completely on your own. I didn't bother to tell anybody.
Well, dude, if for those who are with us who can see what we're seeing, yes, I had a little bit of fun with the recent Nissan commercial that aired during Super Bowl. Of course, you're seeing Eugene Levy with his Fabio haircut, nodding to the music. So I thought that was
So,
pretty fun.
yeah, it was pretty good. I don't even want to know how long it took you to just kind of edit that and screw with that. But yeah, it came out pretty good. So good job.
I'm
So
learning some new skills. Thank you very much.
you
Thank you very
you made
much.
me chuckle pretty hard with that. So yeah, pretty awesome. So
Well, good. If there's anything I can do is make you chuckle specifically, Miles, then yes, yeah.
that's exactly what I'm here for. Is just for us to chuckle with one another.
That's kind of what it is. You're all
So
right.
talking about that. I know the Eugene Levy edition obviously wasn't the only news that came up for our intro, but officially Nissan dropped this commercial and debuted it at, hold on, and I'm gonna get this right, the big game, because we can't say the SB word because we're paying rights to SB, as you've told me 4 billion times.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah. All
Guilty.
right. So it did debut on Sunday. We might split a room here, or people might give me crap about it, but unfortunately, I do not watch
You're
the big skin
yeah.
stuff being thrown around. Yeah, I
You know,
never have.
I, what's funny about that is that's a very common thing with all my car friends. I don't know. Somehow I like both, but I can never talk football. I swear to God,
Yeah.
99% of my car friends, I can't talk football with them, and it's just too
Honestly, it
busy.
might as well be like My Little Pony or something. I mean, I have the same amount of knowledge of what happened in like the My Little Pony dynasty as I do with football teams. I mean, I literally know nothing. I barely know how the game is played. I know that I know somewhere in the middle there's girls dancing, a lot of
That's
beer commercials,
yeah.
and people get hurt with brain injuries that are long term. So I mean, it's kind of like working on cars. I mean, it's just like, I mean,
The brain injuries, yeah,
the
sure.
brain injuries, yeah, beer commercials thrown into your car magazine. I don't know, but we're just talking. But yeah, needless to say, yeah, unfortunately, I just don't watch the Super Bowl. So I was gonna try to catch it in
Hmm.
between the for the commercials things, and I figured it would
Yeah.
just go live and I'd grab it. So tell me about it. Did you get a chance to check it out?
So the commercial, yes. I was the commercial didn't air until about the fourth quarter. So the whole time, in between the game, of course, I'm glued to the game, of course. But in between, I'm just like thinking to myself,
So did
win.
Nissan get bumped? They got bumped for the halftime piece, and then it came on in fourth quarter. Is that
Well,
what we
I'm
think
pretty
happened?
sure. I'm pretty sure. Obviously,
It was
nothing's
only
to buy.
like, isn't it like $4 billion like a second or something like that?
It's expensive. It's one of the most expensive bits of airtime that you can get probably in any given year, fiscally anyway. I'm sure nothing is by accident. There's something about the fourth quarter. Either it had to do with increased uh,
Attention span
viewership
because
because
the intensity.
well, it's a give take too. I mean, those true football fans are probably glued to the fourth quarter, especially if it was a good game, which it was. It was a 3-point game, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Oh man.
holding. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh.
or
Oh.
yeah, I don't know whether it was whether there's higher viewership in the fourth quarter or if there's less than usual. I would like to think it was higher because the game
So
was
it
pretty
drops.
decent.
You're nerding out. You're going way down the
Yes.
alleyway, and I told you not to go down there because you're gonna get hurt. Come back over here. All
Come
right.
back.
So it aired on the fourth quarter. Was it pretty much what was already kind of released online before?
It's
Pretty much.
yeah, frame by
Oh,
frame. It was the same one from the episode. Again,
well,
it
whatever.
it's fun.
So
Most and just in nature, Super Bowl commercials are meant to be funny and exciting, and that's exactly what this was. I mean, it was just meant to entertain. Really, really funny. He had some big names. I mean, we talked about it in the last episode. So, I mean, it was exactly what you saw. I mean, nothing new since we last reported about it, though.
all
But
right,
I'm enjoyed to see it. I mean, it's not very often Nissan. I think. Of course, we always talk about notable Nissan Super Bowl commercials in the past,
sure.
and I mean, this
Oh
might be one
man,
of them.
we always really okay. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a pretty cool commercial. But man, Cats in the Cradle, bro, it's me
That
every time.
2015, man. That yeah, I
Oh,
called my dad after that one. Yeah,
oh it is.
Dad, I just want to say, put the buffalo wing down.
I was gonna drop something on the street, but I'll leave it alone. But that's more for a private chat. So
Now,
where I can razz you about the
yeah.
separation of your father and yourself. And I know it's a very destructive thing to talk about. I'm just messing with you. So, all right,
Uh,
moving on down the
all
line.
right.
All right.
Now there
So
was yes,
yeah,
I did want to share something. It was also Nissan related with commercials. Now it was not in the U.S. We actually had a friend of ours, if you want to call it, Fair Lady Z32 Pro Shop Zone in Japan, talked
Japan.
about a
Okay.
commercial that they were a part of many, many years ago. They said 14 years ago they were part of this commercial. So I figured since we're talking about Nissans and we're talking about the commercials being the same thing, I'd share with you this call it rare piece of Japanese
All right.
Z32
Drop
commercial
drop
or
it on me.
episode.
Drop it
So
on me.
let's go
Hit
for
it.
it. All right, come on. So this was like I want to say it's like an equivalent of like Power Rangers, right?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, wow, man, that's crazy.
But you see the Z32 right there. Boom.
Yeah, boom.
Now here it comes. Here it comes. Z32 with the sirens and spoiler through the flames. That's CGI.
Oh, headlight. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little find. It's not like I'm up on my Japanese daytime TV, so especially children's television. So, yeah, it's a cool find. I would have never have ever caught that. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Good find.
No
Nice.
problem. Yeah, he said he was involved with the production, so he was actually having talking to somebody who was literally part of making that commercial or that show be possible. So it was kind of cool. So again, just thought to share why we're on the
Oh,
topic anyway.
and you will jump into comments just a little bit. Calvin is on with us right now. He says, "Cats in the Cradle was the best Nissan commercial still." Well, what's up? What's up? For real.
That was a good one.
All
Oh, for
right.
sure.
So moving on down the line, let's do some catch up, man. We probably haven't talked really in a hot minute. I mean, sometimes we talk to each other way too much, and then sometimes
Yes.
we don't. It hasn't been a minute. I know this. I haven't caught up with you for about the better part of a week or so.
Well, I kind of did that on purpose, man. I won't lie to you. I went dark on you. Well, no, let me explain. I went dark on you, man,
No.
because I did something which this is actually my first time telling you about this. I kind of
Uh,
I may have betrayed your trust, man. I don't know if I did this wrong or if I did it right or
oh,
not. I'm going to show you what I did. I was invited.
watch yourself, homie. Watch yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. I went to the salvage yard without you, man, and I found a
Ooh.
huge score of Z32 parts. I hit the mother load, and I took advantage of it, and 350Z parts as well. But what you can see here, man, I stocked up on alternators, ignition coils, PTUs, throttle bodies. I've got multiple crank angle sensors, fuel regulators, dude. Hardware. I had been low on
Um,
stock. Yeah.
Mike,
Yes.
I have to tell you something. That
Okay.
wasn't the junkyard. That was my backyard. I was wondering where all this stuff went, and you literally went through my private stash. But
Yeah.
no, yeah. I mean, I'm glad you went to the junkyard. I'm extremely hurt, and because that is our thing, you know.
we
Just
we take a basket and some wine and have a lunch
yeah,
a picnic
on
at
top
the
of
salvage yard.
on top of a Nissan Frontier hood, like in the middle of everything, in the back of a bed. What are
Yeah.
these guys doing over there? Just yeah, they're here every Sunday. It's just weird.
I don't know.
So,
Well,
I don't know, dude.
let me
You did now. Can I ask you a question? How much of this did you actually pay for?
you know me all too well. So
I
now,
know you.
well, let's just say the hardware, they don't care about hardware. So nuts and bolts, no problem. Clamps, all
I
that.
assume if they would have like stopped you and patted you down, it would have been like those smugglers that get caught like with the
The
bricks
tape.
of dollars taped to their chest. It would have been an alternator right here, and like that's it. You got a hunchback. And you're just that guy's got a hunchback. Nah, it's like check
Nah.
him. He's got two
Yeah, check them.
alternators in his hunch. Just
Uh, in,
pat
in
him
the
down.
in the hood of my jacket, you know. Yeah, yeah.
And then they just do that. I don't know what you put in your prison wallet. I'm gonna say you probably put in your prison wallet the PTU. And if you don't know what a prison wallet, go ahead and go to Google and type in slang term prison wallet, and you'll talk about that. Moving on.
Anyway, yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna plead the fifth, but you can use your imagination all you want. Obviously, you have already, so I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah.
go with that.
So you got a lot of stuff. Cool. I'm very happy for you.
Well, and let me tell you, by the way, these did not come off of 350Zs and 300ZXs. These came off of the Infinity equivalents, the
Yeah,
J30s and the
J30.
G35s. Oh man, same stuff, untouched.
1994 plus. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, almost
I'm,
everything will fit. The PTU is just a little weirder shape. All right, we're gonna nerd out on some stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But all right, we could talk about that for like 30 minutes. So we got a show to do. All right.
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
yes, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. I also did a little junking of myself.
Did you?
Yeah, well, I brought the junkyard to me. At this point
Ah.
in a baller's game, you just buy the junkyard. So what I did is I basically just said the hell with it, and now I just buy the entire damn thing. So
Woo!
yeah. So
There it
I bought
is.
this, pulled it out of like I mean, I found it locally, and then it's just a Datsun 620. There, for those that are gonna just chastise me about it, I'm stripping it apart. It is not going to be saved. It came with a title. It's not worth the saving. Trust me. So it is literally just car parts, and I'm going to strip it down, take what I need for panels, and then I'm going to release it into the wild for other salvage car parts or Nissan vampires or Datsun vampires to take it apart. So we're gonna go from there. The funny thing about this,
Mm,
if you let Datsuns sit too long that have full drum brakes all around,
yeah.
Trying to
Weights.
get it on to these trailers and trying to get it off the trailers without a winch is extremely fun. Luckily, the gentleman that I picked up the car, he was able to pull the truck out of the ditch that it was in, and then we loaded it on top of the trailer with a bobcat and chain. Sketchiest thing I've done probably for a while. I'm glad I have good life insurance. Wife is going to get a good payout. But moving on. Okay, so I had to put tires on it. It didn't come with these. It literally ran on four flats.
Oh.
So I put new tires on it and got it up on top of there and loaded it, right? So it was somewhat safe to load it. Got it
Mm.
home, and then the picture. There's a friend of mine, Jesse Sotelo, and he drives a Nissan Armada, and we were just trying to come up with interesting ways to get it off, considering all the fronts are completely locked up. Rears we broke loose, so we're like, all
Mhm.
right, take all the drums apart, do all that nerdy stuff, or we could just get ghetto with it. And we chose to
Yeah.
get ghetto with it. So what
Yeah.
we do, and I'm gonna just give you this little tip and trick. You can slime the trailer. So we basically just greased it for the front wheels, and then as you can see, there's a strap tied to that rear bumper. So
Yeah.
Jesse drove one way, I drove the other, and we literally just pulled the car completely off. It was like it was pretty magical. I wish I would have videotaped it, but that was the ghettoest thing I've probably done in a while, and it worked. So if you have the means, I highly recommend doing it.
I had
And
never heard of that. So the fronts were locked, so you literally greased the planks of the trailer.
well, it's a aluminum trailer, so yeah. So we
Okay.
just WD
Yeah.
40'd and spot greased it all the way, and then we said, and then yeah, and then and I got it all the way to the street, man. And then from there, I just put it on like Go Jacks, and we got it inside the shop. So yeah,
Congratulations.
that was pretty. That was the funniest thing I probably did that weekend. It was pretty funny. But yeah, anyway, but I thought it was pretty fun. So,
Yeah.
but
Congrats, man. Yeah, I will have to pass by here in the near future and
yeah,
start picking a
to
few
steal
things
some
from
more
you.
parts from me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah,
you.
yeah.
All
You
right.
can check my
Yeah.
pockets before I leave your house, right?
I'm gonna have to pad you down. So I wanted to give a shout out to everybody in the chat here tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we are going to go ahead and get started. As always, we see you in the comments in real time. Feel free to share, respond, talk trash, make fun of Mike. This is exactly what we're here for. So yeah, go ahead and in there. Before we begin, we have actually a special compi to do tonight, right, Mike?
Yes, we do. So, of course, what we always say as part of our kanpai, we say, let's go ahead and get our drinks out while we're out at 2 miles. Again, a salute to those in the Nissan family whom we wish good health. And for those we may have lost along the way, maybe be reminded of them often. Case in point, though, we do give a special shout out here. Let's go ahead and give it the picture here. Mr. K.
Oh,
Saturday, yes. This next Saturday, February 19th, marks 7 years since the passing of Mr. K at 105 years old. So I found the best picture. Of course, us being from Texas, got the best Texas picture we could. And when I say
yeah,
kanpai, uh, in honor of Mr. K, it's do kanpai. All right.
compi.
Woo.
You know, a little known unknown fact is for those that don't realize the small mini pickup is actually can also be accredited to Mr. K
Oh.
because yeah, because they were one of the first um, Japanese trucks that came across to the United States. So that entire market probably wouldn't be in existence if not for the insight of him for that push. So he doesn't get a lot of credit for that, and yeah. It was kind of crazy. And I
Huh.
learned that from Johnny Gable, who was a secretary out of Nissan North America for
Mm.
many, many years when she was still alive, who's also we miss very dearly. So,
Yes, very
yeah.
much so.
And yeah, it was kind of funny. Like we would just be goofballing about different stuff and facts, and he would. She used to say that he would always get in trouble driving around with his cowboy hat and the little and his and the Datsun trucks, and he'd get pulled over all the time. He'd always be wearing that cowboy hat. So but yeah, pretty funny
Wow.
stories. But yeah, moving along, we got a heck of a show for you here tonight. And Mike, we got news. Let's go ahead and run through some of the news because we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. And Mike,
Hmm.
I I'm going to go ahead and leave the ball in your court so you can go ahead and talk about your upcoming news. But before that, go.
Okay. All right. Of course, this is the news segment of the show. We're going to go ahead and share my screen on this one. Article I wanted to share with you guys this week here is that from CNET.com. I don't know where I mean, you find it in the craziest places. The report that the chip shortage, which we still live in, material shortage, semiconductor shortage, is hurting Toyota more than Nissan. The report says, and so essentially, what we want to say is that Nissan is doing very, very well in response, in the face of adversity and all these part shortages, which are still happening. Nissan has had a really good strategy and have been playing it out really, really well. So
you're saying it was intentional.
I meant to do that.
yeah, of course.
So
Yeah, it's not an accident. It's definitely not an
or they're
accident.
just or they're playing the chess game. Yeah, and I kind of heard something like that. And they're is it? And I could be wrong, but they were like trying to pad some of the shortage by doing some self create internal creation of some of their processes. Am I wrong?
Uh,
Yes and no, probably.
you got
Or
what's
is
the
it too nerdy? All right.
problem?
Would you shut up and let me do my job? Just go ahead. You can say it. You can just tell me why
Right.
you gonna call me out like that, bro.
Exactly.
And you know why I
Well,
called you out? Because you ditched me this weekend and you left me to not go to the salvage yard. That's why I call you out.
you could throw me under the bus. Well, I did have a statement, but it had nothing to do with what you're about to say here. So let me.
Go on
Can I finish?
and continue.
Can I finish?
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Can I finish? Go.
All
Sorry.
right, no worries. So, of course, getting back to it, though, semiconductors still remain a hot commodity, especially in the automotive industry. Nissan has fared better than expected, especially in this case in relation to Toyota. Toyota is essentially the largest automotive manufacturer in the world, but Nissan has actually done better in terms of what they call the operating profits that are in effect. So when you have a shortage, you can only make less cars, right? So your operational rate, you can only what they call your operational rate is lower, just by relation. They're saying that what was it said here? 1 second here. Nissan had profits last quarter. Nissan. There it is. There it is. Okay, so in this last quarter, Toyota reported a 21% decline in operating profits last quarter, right? That's a huge. I think it related to about a drop of about $8.5 million loss in the quarter. Meanwhile, Nissan's operating profit doubled in the same quarter, which is, I mean, obviously night and day. Not only were they profitable in general, but they doubled their profit. So this is the result of what this through this article is. They're saying that thanks to better cost controls, better pricing power with suppliers, Nissan's strategy is helping them be I wouldn't say immune to this type of shortage, but they're really doing a very, very good job in the face of all this. I think they had said there was a really good saying. Of course, they're saying here a reverse of fortunes, relation between Nissan and Toyota. They said here profits doubled, and let me see here. It says Nissan's global net venue per vehicle also increased 13% in the third quarter of 2021. So, anyway, what I'm saying though is that if I haven't said it already, in the face of adversity, Nissan is still prospering, and we should definitely give them props for doing that. So, props to Nissan.
Great. Good
Did
job.
that answer your question? I don't know.
Speaking about in the face of adversity, you also made it through that article with me, also poking at you with the sharp stick. So congratulations, sir. You're doing great. You're doing great. Moving along, other news that we wanted to talk about. Mike, I don't know if you kind of caught wind of this. But with all the news and the hype and everything that's kind of going on with the new Z, let me see here. Boom, and give me that steering wheel, baby. Chris Forsberg jumped on Motor Trend and apparently was talking about that he either has or is going to be having first dibs at the new Z that's kind of making its way, and apparently he's
Mm.
already started to modify it. Now, I had an opportunity to kind of go through this and poke a little around, but some cool little photos that I wanted to draw some attention to. Now, I do, I've been loving the white.
Oh, beautiful
For
color.
those
That's
that
the
haven't
first
had
time
the,
I'd seen it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I'm really digging it. And I wanted to show you a couple things here. All right, if it ever allows me to.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, but we'll get there when we get there. Okay, there we go.
There it is.
So, I was kind of looking through this, and it shows obviously pictures of him with some other vehicles that are there as well. But when I started kind of running through some of this, it was pretty interesting that he was able to kind of get the vehicle so early and slammed, and um, now I
Yeah.
started kind of putting two and two together. And I'm not saying that he doesn't already have that item, but it does look like some of this may be Photoshop. But I think it was just for the intention to kind of let people know that
Mm.
he is probably going to get that car. Now, will he get that car early? Yeah, I think so. Because obviously for some of these, I mean, if you look at the calibers, it's kind of a dead giveaway, right? So,
Mm.
and then
Oh.
some of these look like they're Photoshop, I seriously doubt he'd be doing an oil change on a brand new vehicle, but but yeah, that's maybe just giving the sponsors kind of a little nod. But
I'm
I
sure.
will say this to Chris's credit. I mean, he does do some really amazing things with Nissan. Will
Yeah.
he do something amazing with the Newsy? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just think they needed to get something out to kind of talk about the Newsy, and I can almost guarantee he's going to have it before everybody else. And I can't wait to see it personally because I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be amazing. And best to Chris and all the guys on the team
Yeah.
as they start working towards that. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What I was wondering, so like you said, if they had it, or if they own one now, or maybe they had. I mean, I've heard of promotional cars, but Nissan's. I doubt Nissan's going to let anybody modify, like you said, these pictures to promotional cars. But I would think even if he has it, um, uh, I mean, yeah, I mean the suspension set up like that, unless it was an exact, Z 370Z's components like that. So I mean, I'd like to think that maybe he had it. My question was that if he has it, let's say he does, if he has a car, is I doubt he's the only one who has this early access to this car. There could be other motorsport companies that are either waiting to release their videos. Maybe there's some sort of announcement with that, though. What do you think about other motorsports, Nissan related motorsport companies having an
So I
advance?
do. So I actually know.
Hmm.
I know other people have had the car for advance. It's made rounds for months. So I'm not going to name drop and give anybody else away unless they publicly want to do that. Because I mean
Good point.
that's an important part of their business, and I
Yes.
definitely don't want to take any way that away. But but I know for a fact some other folks have had it and have had an opportunity to kind of go through the vehicle, even scan it so they could start making some development parts. So right out of the door, right out of the gate, there's going to be performance availability for this car, which is extremely rare. I mean, I probably haven't seen that since like when the BRZ dropped, because when that car dropped,
Yeah.
they had an opportunity to kind of make the go rounds, and there was so much hype about that car, and
Yeah.
there was so much interest in the aftermarket motorsports. But it did okay, but it didn't really. It kind of fell on its face. I do not think that's the case with the new Z.
Of course
I
not.
think.
No.
I think it's just going to shoot for the moon, and I really think it's a smart idea, regardless of that they have the car or not, for Forsberg to do something like this. I think
Yeah.
it's super cool. So kudos to them for getting out there. But like I said, I know for a fact they're going to do something cool with it. He always does great stuff. I love
Yeah.
all of his Nissan cars, his Datsuns. He does some amazing stuff. I love his Patrol, even though it's pretty much stock for the most part. Last time I saw it, the Ultimaniac. I mean
Oh yeah.
that Gold Z that he was drifting with forever.
Oh man.
Right, is the list goes on and on. The guy has just nothing but amazing cars, and I love the fact that he's pretty much kind of a Nissan loyalist at this time. And
Yeah.
he's rocking with and he's riding with Brian Highcotter, who's also winner of the GT Academy. I mean, it's
Hmm.
nothing but Nissan livery with him. And again, I can't knock the guy, and kudos to him. We support him 100% on the show, and like I said, we can't wait to see what he puts out. Here's coming soon. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay, man. Okay. It's exciting stuff. Like you said, yeah, this is my first time actually seeing the car in white. And I remember he did have a few videos through the Instagram channel of his, and very, very impressive. Kind of gets you in the feels, man. I just, if I, to Nissan, I say, come on already. That's the thing. It's just like they're teasing this thing. They're
They're,
milking. I'm like,
they know what
ah,
they know what they're doing. They know what
they
they're
know.
doing.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
yeah. I'm pretty excited about it. So we'll talk about it like we always do. It seems to be something that we keep bringing up on the show, and we'll keep talking about it and keep talking about it as we go forth. So yeah.
Yep,
And
yep,
you
yep.
got some news in 60 seconds. I'm going to hold you to it. Let's run through some of the Nissan news that you got.
Let's go for it. All right, news in 60 seconds, guys. We have, I think, three articles to share with you very, very quickly. Let's get started off here. Going to share my screen here.
And go.
Go. All right. So now, this is a rumor from Reuters. They had Nikkei, I think it's a media agency, business. Nikkei Business Daily reported on Monday that Nissan is to stop most development of new gasoline engines, which was very, very, which even though it is a rumor, it does seem to align with much of what Nissan's ambition plan is, which is this transition to EVs. So, although it is a
Ugh.
rumor, still I do believe it's got some truth to it in some degree. Now, for us in the U.S., not so much affecting us. It's mostly in Europe and in some other countries. The
Oh
U.S.
man.
market, yeah, and why
We'll,
is
we'll, we'll
because
we will probably hold on for a long time because we're just American and that's the way we roll. For the European folks out there, I
yeah.
kudos to you. For going into a new world, but I play a sad song for you. So for all your gasoline engines,
I hear it. Your heart will go on. Yeah. I uh I got a question. Does my 60 seconds per article get paused when you talk or
no, and you're done. Moving on down the line.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, just to say though, the reason why the U.S. market is a little different is because trucks and SUVs, which are a huge category, at least here in the states, the power in that they have for these conventional engines is still in demand. Not to say they'll have hybrids. Hybrids are still on the table, but still using that good old dino juice. So
Are you still
let's
talking? You're about this article?
yes.
Boof. Next.
Next one. Next one. All
Oh
right.
God.
The Nissan plant is to build two all new all electric models at their Mississippi assembly plant. Of course, this is in Canton, Mississippi. Overall, this is a $500 million investment into their plant. And they're showing here, it says investment supports retraining and upskilling nearly 2,000 jobs inside that plant. It is all for the transition again to EV vehicles manufacturing and technology. They're saying that this ramp up and this production of these new models will begin sometime in 2025. Again, this is about Nissan's Ambition 2030 plan. That plan is to provide 23 electrified vehicles and 15 all electric vehicles by 2030. So it's really, again, if you want me to note out for a second, electrified vehicles, in other words, in my opinion, is like hybrid. So you have conventional with electrified power assistance. Meanwhile, there are 15 all electric vehicles as part of that lineup. So there you go. Last one, Miles. Miles, I think you're really gonna like this one.
Just go on.
Next one here, we want to say happy birthday to John Morton. Today, exactly, is his birthday, which is February 17th. John Morton is, of course, a beloved Datsun driver. racing driver who raced for BRE in the 70s. He is a four-time SCCA national champion, having driven the Datsun 510 and the 240Z. So when I say happy birthday to him, 80 years, man. You know, we've seen him a lot of times through ZCon conventions. Gotta say, man, he doesn't really act his age. He's still on the track. Last I checked, I mean, he's ripping some good lap times. Just really impressive to still watch on the track. And it's anything I can wait for when I'm his age. Now, side note to that, did you know? So I was doing some study on John Morton, right? There is a racing cup dedicated to John Morton, and this is actually happening here this year. So there you go. That's some pictures of the man himself right there, right?
Oh man, is that a new thing or has it kind of been going on? And by the way, good catch, man. Good job.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
All right.
Thank you. What they are saying though, this is called the Morton Cup. They're saying here that there's a full 4-race schedule being developed here in 2022. They're saying here the latest news, tracks like Laguna Seca Raceway Foundation are posting a hold to the event. More updates to come along the way. But what they're saying here is that this cup essentially is trying to help, we might say, summarize or pay tribute to Morton's racing career, specifically in the 2-liter and 2.5-liter Trans Am championships. What they say here on the website, again, if you go to MortonTrophy.com, they're saying to reel in to recapture the feel of the old days with big grids, officially named after the man who could rightfully be called the champion of the 2.5 Trans Am Challenge, John Morton. Over 35 car models competed in 2 to 2.5 era of the Trans Am. If you have any of these cars, join us, and we will have a car in the spirit of the era come out and join them. So this is John Norman putting this together. Honestly, Miles, I think maybe in a future episode we should probably reach out to this guy because this looks really cool. I mean, just
We've met Morton on a number of occasions. I ended up spending more time talking to his wife, who's she had a book called
they wrote a book about his time at Shelby. Is that what you're talking about?
Steel Carrot, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry.
It was actually a really good book. I have it somewhere around here. It's actually really good. And I actually talked to her about that book when I saw him in, I think it was at Z Convention in
San
it was
Diego.
California, San Diego. That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
And he's a super nice guy. I mean, I've met him a handful of times, and I like most people do when you get the opportunity to kind of see him at the Z conventions. Um,
Yeah.
but a hell of a nice guy, and he's always willing to sign an autograph for everybody, and has tons of great stories. Yeah, if you get a chance, I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that you like seeing at an event, and it's super cool that Nissan still definitely loves his involvement in a lot of those things, especially the Z convention guys. Again, I hope to see him at future events, and at 80, congratulations, man, really.
Absolutely. Happy
So.
birthday, John Morton.
So a few things I kind of want to kind of go from here. We have to kind of run into motorsports on that same kind of racing vibe.
Yes, we
Let's
do.
talk a little bit about what's kind of coming down the pipeline. Now, for me, I kind of want to talk a little bit about Super GT. From the last episode to this, not much has changed. We still have got Super GT coming down the pipeline, not until April. So that's when officially the Super GT 2022 series will begin. The first round is happening at Okayama International, but that is not until April 16th and 17th, which
Mm.
we are sure to see the new Z come out and dominate. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's the game plan here soon. But some news that I wanted to kind of drop on you is that some of the new liveries actually came out, and I wanted to share a little bit of that with you, Mike. Here,
Go for it.
that the Advan one, as you can kind of see behind me, that is the new livery for Advan. And on this website that I'll kind of share with you, the new NissanZ.com, they actually have quite a bit of new information on the new Z, especially the livery. A lot of bad information out there, but this is a great source if you're really truly interested about the new Z. This has been a great site for information that we found here. But yeah, let me kind of run through this here for you, and you guys can see that. But yeah, some great shots that have been kind of pulled from the internet.
Wow, wow. So, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to think about Advan, and I remember seeing
Advan wheels.
the 350Z. No, no, no. I remember when they had the 350Z Advan. It was like a red color. So when I see
Yeah.
them in blue, that's new to me. I mean, I like
It was
it.
the red and the black. I mean, they've changed up the livery once or twice, so they typically have flipped between both sets of colors. But
Mm,
yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see these cars as they begin to roll out to the public, and they're definitely being spaced out.
yes.
And I would think intentionally, and that makes complete sense. So you're constantly keeping up the hype on it. So yeah, and Nissan's been doing a great job. I mean, as you know, the day after the last series ended, Nissan completely stole the show by dropping some crazy news about the GTRs being pulled from the 500 class for the series. So people are just like, "What's going on?" The rug being completely swept underneath them for the 500. But then a little bit later, Nissan says, "Guess what? We're going to be throwing in the new Z into the 500 series." Not a lot of news about what's going to be happening with the 300, but there are GTRs that already competed last year within the 300 class,
Hmm.
and the development college for Nissan. Those guys dominated last year. Really did a great job. I forget what they ended up taking, but they really just put their heart into it, and they really put their best foot forward every time. And if you get a chance, go back through some of their races from last year. They just were killing it. I expect the same thing is going to happen this year because they've just been completely developing as a race team. So I'm super excited. There's a lot of stuff kind of coming down the line. Calsonic, yeah, and then we've got the Advan team. So we will definitely drop it on you as soon as we know more. But continue to watch and keep up with us. When we start getting closer to April, we will obviously let you know that the race coming. We'll try to present you
Hmm.
with those live feeds, especially the dubbed over one, so those folks that speak English um, could definitely get that version. It usually comes out about a day, about 24 hours later. So we'll definitely try to have that variation for you when available. So yeah, very cool.
And I'm trying to think about it too. Man, I really wish make to have some sort of watching party, man, because this is gonna be a really big debut for
Hmm.
this car, man. I'd really like to be witness live. Odds are I have to end up watching this thing at 3 a.m. to watch to get it live, but oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah, that's the only thing. It's like the complete other side of the planet does make it pretty interesting when you're trying to watch the races live. It's like you got to go to the club all night, then go home, drink a coffee, and then just rock that out, and then be zombied out. But or you could just catch the dub version when it finally hits 24 hours, which makes sense later. So
true.
yeah, but yeah, again, it's going to be a hell of a good season this upcoming year, and I feel like Nissan has had to be a little budget minded with their racing, budget that they've had for the last year.
Yeah.
I feel like that may not be the case this upcoming year. You know, usually the budgets for Nissan and the racing usually come out around April, but they always know that they're going to get in Super GTS, which is obvious now. So a lot of that stuff comes out in April from the company when all the budgets kind of released, and I'm hoping a lot of the motorsport stuff trickles its way down from this. So maybe there'll be Cup Series, maybe there'll be all kinds of different stuff, but at this time, nobody really knows knows anything. I don't know anything. As we know something or somebody knows something, let us know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because we'd love to talk some rumors about what's going to be coming down the pipeline. So
Same thing,
yeah,
whether it's on a professional level or grassroots level, we don't care. We want to
yeah,
see what
whisper
kind of
it. Whisper it in
yeah
our ear. Send us an email. Send me a telegram. Send me smoke signals. I'll
smoke
figure it out,
signals.
and we'll get this done. So Formula E, Mike. You actually had a round three. Was just recently, right?
We did. So the the Formula E season has just gotten kicked off not too long ago. Now we are in round three. This round three was happening inside the streets of Mexico City. I'm gonna let this run in the background.
Go on.
Your DJ skills are coming in because you can know exactly when to just right there. You know that.
Right
Yeah,
there.
it's all the timing, and I give you props on that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you. Moving on.
All right. So I'm going to just run in the background. This is some highlights from the Mexico race round three. This was another street track for the Formula E season. This happened here last weekend, February 12th. You know, most races in the Formula E league are double headers. This week was not that. It was just one race for the entire weekend. We had 24,000 fans attend, from what I heard in this video. Regarding Nissan, of course, we've got Sebastian Buemi, and Maximilian Gunther. Really strong performance in practice. Let's just start off with that one. Okay, so Buemi finished and had a second place in practice. Again, that practice doesn't really mean much, but it was impressive nonetheless. So I think it's definitely worth saying. However, when you get into qualifying, he qualified 18th, and then in the end, finished in 8th place. Now, Maximilian Gunther qualified 10th, finished in 9th. Overall, they were both about 25 seconds behind the leader. Honestly, Buemi, he did. You got to think about the jump that Buemi just made. He started 18th, ended in 8th, a 10 spot, you know, jump. 5 of those positions he gained on just the first lap of the race. So that first lap, he just, boom, came running out of the chute, got the advantage on 5 cars, and then the rest of the race was him taking advantage and jumping up another 5 positions. Again, for Gunther, he qualified 10th, finished in 9th. So he pretty much hovered in the same range, give or take, throughout the entire race. So still very impressive. Nissan brought home points for the first time this season. Both drivers delivered points. In total, they have 6 points for the Nissan as a constructor. That brings Nissan up to 8th place as a constructor so far this season. I do have a really good comment, man. I'm going to bump this out of here again. There was a really good comment. If you go to Nismo.com, which they do review the race as well, very, very good quote. They said that the thrilling race saw multiple changes in position. Both Nissan EDAM's drivers benefited from the team's energy management strategy, which allowed them to keep up the pace for one extra lap that other competitors did not anticipate. What they mean by that extra lap, again, this is what makes Formula E different. The race isn't a predetermined set of laps. It's 45 minutes plus 1 lap. So what literally happened is that when that clock hit 00, 45 minutes is done, the first and second position drivers had just crossed the finish line or the start line. So it was actually 2 extra laps that they had to finish after that 45-minute set. So with that energy management system that Nissan had, or that strategy, really benefited them for this race. Is that some nerd for you on that one?
Yeah, that's pretty strong nerd.
Now, the next races, round 4 and round 5, are happening in Rome, and that's not happening until April 9th and 10th. So that means we got about a 6 weeks gap in between the next set of races. So for us reporting, it might be a little light here in the next couple of episodes, but as soon as we get back into rounds 4 and 5, we'll have a lot more to share going forward.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the next round of motorsports on it. Again, we got Rome coming up. That's in April. I mean, pretty much coinciding with Super GT. So yeah, a lot of the stuff making its way down the line. I'm super excited about Formula E and how it rolls out. I really hope that it's going to be. Um, it's gonna. They're just gonna dominate this year, but I don't know, man. Like, I are you concerned at all yet, or you're just excited?
No, I'm still optimistic, man. Round 3, okay. I think.
I mean, because we are
No,
we're a
I'm,
few races deep. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I guess obviously a lot of people will compare a Formula E season with like with like an F1 season, right?
yeah,
Uh, and like Formula One has like 22 races, 23 races. These Formula E is significantly less. I want to say it's like 8 or 9 races. So
correct.
te-
Yeah, so
technically
we're coming
saying
up.
we're a
We're
third.
coming up. We're coming up the midway point for the season. I know it seems fast because it has happened fast, but in April it'll literally be round 4 out of X amount of races. I forget what it is, but you're right. I mean, we're damn near halfway.
I'm making sure I have my numbers right here though too.
Oh,
But
we're fine. We don't have to put numbers. I mean,
uh, however, there it is. Okay, so round 8, 12. No, actually, honestly, I'm sorry, Miles. We've got 16 rounds this year.
you know what? I retract all my previous concerns and quotations,
There's
and
plenty of time. Yes,
there's plenty of time for them to kick tail. And I do hope they kick tail. Obviously, we support the brand, we support the EDAMS team, guys. We're going to send you nothing but positive vibes from this point. And I'm sorry Mike doubted you in any way, shape, or form.
me. Oh man, you just stick to Super GT. I'll handle Formula E.
Oh, excuse me, sir. So, all
No, I'm
right.
still up.
So,
I think we've got plenty of time. Yeah,
it's all right. So let's talk about. We haven't done a special segment in a minute.
we haven't.
And I think we just kind of threw everything in the bowl here this weekend. And we're just like, you know what? Let's screw it. Let's have some fun this week. So we're gonna definitely do a. We haven't done one of these in a while, but I was gonna say we do a shut up and take my money. And you found something super cool that coincidentally we were talking about John Morton's birthday, but you found something on the internet and you shared it with me. I thought it was superly amazing. So
Yeah.
I think it officially earns a.
Shut up and take my money.
Go for it, man. Drop
You're
it on us.
exactly right. Let's go for it, man. I'm going to share my screen on this one. Now, as part of this is actually a continuation of what we were talking about earlier, which is John Morton's 80th birthday. What Peter Brock and everybody at BRE have done is that they announced through their Facebook page, that they have developed a limited edition poster that essentially pays tribute to John Morton and the number 46 car. These are signed posters, limited edition. There are actually only 46 prints available. So very, very limited. You can see some pictures here. I think if I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, there you go. The dimensions of this poster are 13-inch by 19 inches, so it's a fairly decent size. They are signed, they are numbered, and they're going. I think here $95 through the bre2.net is where you can find them for sale. Yeah, 94.95 for this signed poster. The artwork itself was commissioned by Dennis. I'm gonna get this wrong. Salnikov. I think I got it. Salnikov. Again, commemorating John Morton's 80th birthday. They just came out this week, and again, they are numbered though. So for anybody who's looking for, again, these are gonna go by quick. The last I checked, there's only 17 left. So Miles,
Damn,
I know you like collecting posters. This might
I
be.
do. I'm a little bit of a nerd and a fan when it comes to that, but yeah, I might have to get in on that. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be a lot easier if I had some of those car parts in my backyard that somebody didn't steal, and I could just sell those and offset the cost. But thieves will be thieves. But if I ever catch that guy, he's a dead man. So.
But honestly, I think it's awesome though, man. I really, man, 17 left, man. And it's a hell of a price, man. For what it is, man. I mean, it's one of these pieces you end up keeping forever too. Uh,
Yeah, I would agree too as well. I mean, it's definitely one of those things that once you get, yeah, I can't see you not keeping it, cherishing it, framing it, and just looking at it all day. I mean, that's the nice thing about like certain posters like this. Those
mhm.
ones kind of sit above, and I just look at those all day. Like when I'm getting chewed out at work, or somebody tells me I'm not good enough, or you come over to the house and I want to impress you.
uh,
Look around you. This
you
is
were
why,
saying, yeah.
and you wonder why I'm better than you. And I'm like, this is why. Look at everything that I have. Yeah. So, all right. But again, yeah, that one definitely deserves a whole shut up and take my money.
Shut up
So,
and take my money.
Yes,
yeah, very
sir.
cool. Moving on down the line, we wanted to talk. We had a car feature. We haven't done one of these in a hot minute, and you know that I am a little bit of a fan of these cargo vans, and I know you always kind of make fun of me about it, but I really think
Well,
that
yeah.
the new trend of overlanding is making its way just as popular as motorsports. It's definitely in its infancy, but I feel like that market is a gigantic boom, either happening or in the wake of happening right now. And I want to
Yeah.
share this article with you. This is actually pulled from Jalopnik, and it says the Nissan NV cargo van is an unlikely candidate for overlanding, but it just might work. It was an article by Jose Rodriguez Jr., and I couldn't agree more. So it said Nissan failed to make a dent in commercial sector, but its massive cargo vans deserve a second look. So what he's talking about is ultimately kind of what you're getting out of the box and then what was done with this particular one. So this particular truck is lifted, I want to say it's almost 37 inches, so it's
Mm.
massively lifted.
Wow.
Yeah, if I remember, yeah, 30, or it's massively lifted with 37-inch tires.
Mm.
The rear suspension kind of kept a multi-leaf setup, which is still amazing. So it's got a 4x4 conversion, and I just think it's amazing. Now, the funny thing, and I'll quote the article directly here, it says Nissan claims the NV Cargo Van came with reinforced mounting points, which came in handy for building and mounting of a custom interior. The ultimate end result was a sizable off-roader built like a truck, but with an integrated shell that's ready to turn into a camper. And they're 100% accurate. I mean,
Mm.
look at this. I mean, we're looking at the frame setup of this vehicle. I
Wow.
mean, ultimately, you get the bones and the structure of everything you want. It's all reinforced. The
Yeah.
closest thing you could get to a cargo van that is built like a truck, like almost like a unibody. I mean, that's ultimately what you've got going on here. So
Mhm.
very, very interesting stuff. I mean, it's got a high roof. If you've ever been in one of these, they do have a sizable space from your
Yeah.
head up to top, even for the tallest gent. They're pretty cool. A tall roof inside at about 77 inches tall, which is pretty stout. I personally have been in these before, and there isn't much in them. I mean, because they're pretty much for a certain industry, but there's an opportunity there. I think if you're going to go overlanding and go camping, I think this might be the vehicle, man. And I'm really interested to see what more people might kind of do with this. So
And just curious, did they say it's four-wheel drive or is it still two-wheel drive? Was there some sort of
this is a four
conversion?
by four. This is a 4x4 conversion. It was ultimately
Okay.
put together with 4x4 four-wheel drive components. Now
Yeah.
the for this particular vehicle, under the hood.
This is a garage.
Hey, pop the hood.
Pop the hood.
pop the hood.
So what was actually in this particular one was a 5.0 V8 turbo diesel out of the Cummins. So this was actually from one of the Nissan Titan XD models.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, ultimately there's an opportunity. I guess Nissan could potentially put these out. I'm just super interested if somebody would ever be doing conversions like this. You know, you buy it, take it, kind of like the old um, days where you could buy a car from the manufacturer and then it would just be tricked out like the old Aerostars or the some of the more performance
Oh, yeah,
oriented
you're
stuff.
right. I remember I've seen those. Even like you always see those Econoline Ford vans with TVs built in and the plush
Dude, it was a
interior.
thing.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
you would
yeah,
just buy the car and you'd be like, all right, go ahead and mod it, and then boom, and it would just be gone for a month, getting its guts ripped out and replaced with the inner workings of somebody's couch. You know, I mean, it was just
yeah,
cushy. Wood grain all around,
yeah.
VHS tape. I mean, you remember,
Well,
you've been in enough of those.
yeah. Well,
So
that's what got me thinking about this because even though this application they're showing it for being off road or overlanding, the camping, out in nature, this reminds me of what a lot of people are doing. Even in town, like they'll say forget renting an apartment. Essentially, it's a miniature house on wheels. They'll put one of those conversion beds slash couch with the table that's a sink or something like that. It's one of those urban living alternatives. I think, which is this, like you said, it's very empty, so it's a large canvas that you can
yeah,
and
I
very
mean,
robust. So it's capable of being fitted however you like it to be.
yeah, I mean, long days are the gloominess and the reputation that most vans were pretty sketchy. I mean, like if you put free 10 millimeter sockets on the side of it, you'd probably catch a couple of us car guys getting in there, and then all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
like.
Welcome to Thunderdome, bitch.
So we definitely don't want to get kind of caught up with that, but for something like this you could definitely flip these vehicles and make some amazing overlanding options, and it really is taking off with the current generation right now that's getting into cars. It gives you everything in one small package, and I do think it's a pretty cool contender because not everybody wants the truck with the camper on the back.
Yeah.
With this it's all sealed, one package. You're never going to have seals that go out. You're never going to have to pop off a camper, and you just pop everything open, and it doubles as so much more. And it's got the power and potentially everything that you would need in one small package. I've been talking about it for a while, and I told you I wanted to do a road trip in one of these,
Well,
but then
that was the thing because you that's how you started off this segment, which you were talking about me. Here's what you want. For those who don't know, this is what Miles wanted to do. We were heading off to Colorado Springs for ZCon, and we were trying to get a van that was enough to hold our equipment. It was me, you, and Ion, three guys in a van, tons of equipment, and that includes media equipment and all that other stuff, car parts that we bought along the way or whatever it may be. And your suggestion was to get one of the NV Nissan vans, which are gutted out. Instead of having a seat with some cushion, you have like they're like bleachers that are just riveted to the floor, and
yes.
for a what would you call it, round trip, close to 3,000-mile trip or 2,500-mile trip. Man, it just didn't seem as fun. It definitely would have been maybe a cooler
Yeah,
story.
here I am,
Yeah.
like I'm literally like kind of patting the van, and I'm like, dude, we need this van in our lives. We need this van for this trip, and you guys are just like,
Yeah, all right, I'll see you guys there.
yeah, pretty much. So it's just like, all right, I guess so. I guess I'm the only one that loves Nissan to this level. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this article at this point. But yeah, again, a very cool feature that I wanted to show this. I love this NV Cargo X. If you get a chance to kind of check it out online, it is all over the internet. This article is on Jalopnik. Just type in Nissan NV Cargo or the Cargo NV Cargo X. Check it out. Very cool vehicle. And again, if you want to go rent one, you can definitely
You can
rent
still
one.
do it. Yes, they are. You're right.
You can still rent one. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let this die. But
All
yeah,
good. Hey,
one of these
before we
one of
do
these
that,
days we're gonna take a trip. That's it. So
Yes, I'm down for that though. In the meantime, before we do though, we did get some comments from social media talking about the car feature. We had a few from Chris Guzman saying that it says here, too bad they stopped production of the Nissan Cargo van for the time being. Well, I mean, I think he was differentiating between Nissan has made cargo and passenger NV vans. I guess at the same time, were they two different models,
correct.
or
Yeah,
maybe superseded?
you have the NV 200, which is the smaller version, which is
Okay,
still pretty cool in its own right. Like
yeah,
it's a small industrial vehicle. This one's that is the bad boy.
that's the
That
big
is
one.
basically
Okay,
that's the big one. And if you ever get a chance, if you ever see him like up front, like if you ever see him, you're like it's like the backside of a bus. I mean, it
yeah,
is right there in your face. Now
yeah.
take that and then raise that sucker up, and then you play some Freebird in it with your big mountain tires. That's it. That is it. That's it. That's just a ponytail waiting to happen. That's right there, brother. That's
Ugh.
it. But I'm telling you, that is a Chris Guzman. I can see Chris Guzman rocking that with a nice mullet. Yeah, I can see. So, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, fanboys movies come to play. It's yeah. Never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
There's a movie called Fanboys. It's a Star Wars nerd movie. If you get a chance, check it out. Great movie. Great reference, Chris. Love you. Great
Awesome,
reference.
awesome, awesome. All right, all right. Well, if it's cool with you, Miles, we'll go ahead and get into this next segment, which it kind of continues off of what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, which let's just get right into it. So we want to do a back alley chat, and the topic we want to talk about is regarding salvage yards, that car, grabbing parts off of who knows what. It's that salvage yard junkie life. I mean, junkie, literally, like you're at a junkyard grabbing these things, and honestly, like after a while, like I said, I enjoy it. I know you enjoy it. I don't know if I'd call it an addiction. That can't be an addiction. What do you think?
Well, okay, so we're talking about ultimately what's the question here? Like, um,
Well,
how addicted is addicted? But um, so let's ask the question here, and we're just going to ask it for everybody. So, what's life like as a Nissan salvage yard junkie? Um,
yeah,
I would say, and why? I guess that's the biggest thing. But why?
right. Think of the
And
savings. Yeah.
why? But then everybody else kind of looks at you like,
No, it's like the same guy who goes to Goodwill, man. Screw you, man. This
well,
is the
but
Goodwill
I
of
will
car
say,
parts.
but I will say this though, it's not when you have an older car.
Hmm.
And this isn't necessarily for the guys out there with like Q50s, Q60s, 370Zs. Even the 350Z guys are barely getting into that right now. Or the some of the guys with like the newer Frontiers, like the
Yeah.
some of the guys with some of the newer cars. I mean, the junkyard's always a great option if your car has made its way to that, the pick and pull from time to time. But
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about that is on certain cars, you can go and get a multitude of things kind of fixed for a fraction of the cost, and it really
Yes.
is a beautiful thing. When it gets even crazier when you start getting into older cars, and I'll say this for all our Dotson brothers out there, brothers and sisters out there who are kind of hunting down things. I mean, if you would have told me back in the day that well, I'm going to take this back 10 years. So if you would have told me that
Yeah.
the Datsun S30 chassis here in the United States were worth anything relative to what they are today, oh
Yeah.
my God, I would have just kept buying and stockpiling them and telling the wife that she's don't leave me. We're gonna be rich one day, I promise. But there's some truth to that, and the rationale for it is because all plastic basically gets brittle and cracks.
Yeah.
All foam-based dashes split. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
All parts kind of go out of production and get hoarded up because there's people like you and me that kind of not necessarily hoard it, but we have to start our collections or we're trying to redo things. Or you got guys that are
Yeah.
just flippers, or you guys that are parts flippers, like I do a little bit of it myself. I restore
Yeah.
and part flip stuff all
Same
the
here.
time on eBay. So what the reason why what we do is you want to make sure that if you don't want to pay the ridiculous pricing that kind of comes with some of this stuff. Like I would definitely say like some cars have kind of fallen to like the drift tax.
Yeah.
Like the Nissan 240SX.
Yeah.
240SXs for the longest time were readily available in junkyards. You could always find stuff. There was always the same things that were taken, and that was pretty much it. And then the drift tax kind of happened, and now 240SXs are worth ridiculous money. And
Yeah.
and because they're just all destroyed, they ran through them and they're done. But why do people just go and they strip down the car 2 days after it's been there? The reason why is because the availability of parts just are not there. People are trying to restore these vehicles. People are trying to get that. So you
Yep.
kind of learn to kind of stockpile. You learn to find
Yeah.
out what the important things are. You know that, like, damn, that's a rare thing. You better get that. Like
Yeah.
finding clocks on dashes in Datsun
That's another
vehicles.
one.
Still
Tachometers. Yes.
tachometers.
Tachometers
Because
620. Yeah.
well, if for the years you could find a clock, it'd probably be like 50 or 60 bucks. You're like, damn, that's pretty rare. But then eBay and like these other guys start setting these crazy price markets for these stuff. So you got guys paying
Mhm.
$380 for a clock out of a Datsun Dash, and you're just like, what the cigarette lighters for like $80, and you're just like, what is going on? Like
Yeah.
when did
Yeah.
this flip happen where stuff
Yeah.
just got out of control and it's just these eye gouging prices? Even buying stuff out of Japan wasn't even that complicated, even through eBay. And then what's that other website that you and I bought stuff through?
Joss.
Joust,
Yeah.
Jauce,
Or
joust.com or
even the
Joust.
old Japan Yahoo auctions and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
those were
Yeah.
great too back in the day. There was great availability of stuff, and I used to nerd out trying to get some stuff. I wish I would have gone back and been broker. Thus getting more money. But it kind of I guess there's definitely an addiction. We're in love with the brand. We're in love with everything
Yeah.
that was
Yep.
available at the time,
Yeah.
especially the period correct stuff. But that stuff doesn't exist anymore. So therefore, if it doesn't exist anymore, or people are hoarding it,
Yeah.
or there's less and less of it, or people just never took care of it and decided to like spray paint them gold, whatever their part was, and just ultimately destroyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, less and less makes for rarity. Rarity makes for more value associated to something.
Yeah.
So,
There's two
yeah,
things. Yeah.
yeah, go for it.
Sorry. There's two things that you mentioned to me, and that I think is, like you said, yes. As these cars get older, I would say in this case, let's just call it 25 years. At the 20 to 25 year mark, if you've got a car that you love, start collecting. For your personal sake, because when things go bad, I give you an example. I got some throttle bodies for the VG30, and I just have them. I paid very little for them, but you know what? I'm going to box them up, throw them in the attic, and so whenever that time comes, when I have that car and a spring, a linkage, whatever it is, goes bad,
That's
you know what?
spares.
I'm covered. Starters, alternators, all that. So for those listening, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah,
Second
and
one
then
is go ahead.
I was gonna say tips and tricks for those that what Mike is kind of talking about, and he kind of perused over something real quick that I want to share with you.
Yeah.
If you're ever like, okay, I've got I've got a car, and my car is 20 years old. What do I do? What do I start hunting for? How would I know that if I wasn't as nerdy as you guys or anybody else? Well, guess what? Just think logically on the stuff that kind of breaks. It doesn't have to be everything that's under the sun, but if you're rocking a rare color interior wise on something, guess what? You want to start stocking up because
Yeah.
there's limited editions of rare colors on interiors. If you're Joe Everybody, all right, you might be okay on a lot of stuff. But plastic stuff that's already breaking for you, guess what? It's breaking for
Yep.
other people too. Because
Yep.
certain plastics just break. Buy if you got
Yep.
extras, buy them, tuck them away. Electronics, PTUs,
Yes.
ECUs,
ECUs are a big one.
sensors,
Uh, well,
reasonable sensors like the ones that control ignition timing.
mhm.
If you've got distributorless systems, thinks about those. They really do make a difference for
Yep.
those.
I'm a big
And
fan of
then
starters and alternators, just as the
and
basics. I
as
mean,
as a car gets older, you start noticing this. Everybody breaks the same thing. Well, guess what? That's the rare part you need to kind of go hunt for. And then once you start seeing stuff fall out of availability, it naturally just kind of do that.
Yeah.
I am still a big proponent of forums. Please get on forums, get familiar with your cars and
Mhm.
what's available, what's being cut out. Because guess what? Nissan and Infinity don't make parts forever. There
Yeah.
isn't going to be some parts fairy that's going to start making your stuff 20 years later. Even for the Datsun guys that are out there, yeah, there's sheet metal that's coming out, but guess what? All that plastic stuff, don't exist right
Yeah.
now. So you still got to hunt the
Harder to
rarity of all
find.
that garbage,
Yeah.
and people want a grip for it. So, get out there, go
Yeah.
hunt, and best of luck
That's
to you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking too, which was I mean, I think we can both say that when we go to the salvage yard, it's not out of necessity. It's more of a hobby. Thank God, I count my blessings on that one though. But when we go, right, we're searching for replacement parts parts that we want to have for our personal collections. We're looking for those parts that are hard to find, and then even looking for parts again, how you said, to flip, and even again, for me, I just take the basics: starter, alternator. Those go bad. If you can find a clean, used OEM starter or alternator, you can take them down to the parts store. Get the. I swear to God, you pay an extra dollar for the warranty. Get the warranty. Go to the parts store. Have it checked. You don't have to put it on the car. You can literally test it on a machine, on a
Sure.
bench tester, and then honestly, that's the other thing. The beauty, well, depending on which junkyard you go to, their pricing models, the how they sell parts. A lot of times now they'll sell you something regardless of its make and model. They don't care what it came off of. They just know that it's an alternator or some other sensor, and so they have flat pricing. And so in this
Yeah.
case, I tell you, I mean, an alternator was $20. I know that I cleaned it, I tested it, it's all good, and you can go eBay it and probably double
At
your
the very
money.
least, it's almost worth what the core is anyway. So, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's always nice to kind of keep that stuff. And like what Mike's saying, it's like, there are rebuildable options. He goes, but the OEM
yeah,
stuff is I hate to say it, sometimes there's no replacement for some of the OEM stuff, and you'll kind of learn that as you move through
yeah,
your destroying your car and and keeping it alive and kind of going that route. So,
yeah, yeah.
a few other things. One thing I wanted to touch about that people probably never think about is if you ever buy donor cars or you ever buy complete vehicles, glass. Glass is really a big deal. Glass is one of those few things that actually kind of goes out. If it's flat, straight glass, you can probably get somebody to cut it. But when you're talking about curved glasses, anytime you can
Yep.
get your hands on that stuff, glass, sometimes it's kind of nice to buy that, leave it in the box, and forget about it. You would be
Yeah.
surprised how much glass goes away and it's gone forever. And the trim that goes around it, rubber.
Mhm.
Anytime you can buy that stuff in lot auctions through eBay, even though it's
Mhm.
flea bay and the markups there, just think about buying that stuff if you can. Box it, sit on it. Don't spend a grip. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but just kind of do that. And then if you ever sell your vehicle too, as well, you've got a box of parts that you could mark up potentially and get your money back anyway. So it's always kind of
True.
nice. Service manuals are actually becoming less and less frequent as you see them back in the day. I'm
Mm.
not talking about the Haynes magazines; those are great, but they usually don't give you what it. I'm talking about the fatty boombatty Nissan books. If you can find them, keep hunting for them. Don't pay the crazy prices, but everybody should have one of those. Especially if you're working on your car, great reference guide, and then find your forums associated to car if they exist or if they're worth anything of merit. So just that's my two things. Ion chimed in.
Mhm.
GM one wire alternators for the win. Yeah. Yeah, good point. Good point. Interchangeability is also a big deal.
Yes.
So, learn what parts are kind of interchangeable. Headlights for some of the Datsun stuff can be interchanged for some of the BMW
Well,
stuff.
and I'll be
So,
honest with you, man. I mean, again, are we giving away secrets of the pros here? But like, it's amazing. It was amazing to me how many Infinity J30s I saw that were untouched. Literally,
it's
there's like
because people don't
four,
think they're
five.
don't people don't think about interchangeability, and
Yeah.
interchangeability is a big deal. If you think about it, that's a whole VG30DE just sitting right there. All you got to do is change out the plenum, and you're pretty much ready to rock. And
Most cases, yeah.
just swap parts over. Unless you want you could take that. Technically, you could take that plenum, and it's not that big of a deal. I mean, you can make that work. There's spacing in it. I'm not going to nerd out, but I'm just saying. But but the point is, why are we talking about this? Why are we nerding out about it? It's because we care about you caring about your car. So we try to give you these tips and secrets.
Yeah.
One before, man, I'm all over the place because you got me all excited now.
Go for it. You
But
are.
but bolts. Anything that's metal bolted, guess what? They get rusted on them. And if you, I want to say one of the biggest most hurtful things that I have to pay for from time to time is when I've got to buy a specialty stupid bolt that's just like this, and because it has some weird pitched thread on it,
Yeah.
I've now got to buy this bolt, or I've got to try to go hunt for it for the better part of a week or 2 weeks. But
Yeah.
originally I had that bolt and I just never chose to clean it or redo it. So buy your bolts, get yourself a nice one of those little Home Depot buckets and toss that sucker right in there. Get
Yep.
yourself one of those what's that rust stuff, and then eventually just kind of
CLR.
go through CLR or the there's another one that rust away or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
go through your bolts, clean them. Sonic cleaners are great for cleaning up those things if you have the means. If you
Yeah.
evaporust, there you go. Thank you, Ion.
Yeah.
But for those that have the means, definitely try to clean up your parts and find a plater in your area. Me personally, I like to do a lot of nickel and cad plate, and everybody's like, "Man, why do you spend so much time cleaning your parts and stuff?" Is because guess what? I want to just grab something out of the bin
Yeah.
and just do that. And then occasionally somebody else might need it, and I might sell it and recoup my costs.
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of keep the hobby alive. I may go and I may spend, we're going to talk about 80, maybe 100 pounds worth of nuts and bolts and bracketry. And I know it sounds crazy, but we're talking 80 pounds worth of bracketry and nuts and bolts. And this is a super nerdy thing to do. But then I drop it off. When I get this stuff, it's like gold. It's nut gold, if that is even
Yeah.
a thing. But I've got these pounds of stuff that come, and of course I've got to sort through it. It might take me a few couple nights to kind of sort through it. But guess what? I can grab anything off the shelf and it's ready to go. And then if somebody needs a nut and bolt, if I like them enough, I might give them the bolt, or I might, if I don't know them or I don't like them, I might guess I'll have to charge them for it. But I mean, my point is, you
Yeah.
got everything clean, nice, ready to go, and I've replaced stuff on your stuff.
Yep.
On your cars, and you're just like, wow, how much that makes a difference in the way that a
Big time.
vehicle looks.
I've
So
I've had some good compliments from people just who want, we had a car show and the hood's popped, and when you've got every bolt that's visible that looks brand new, I mean it's a nice touch. It's what can I say? It's small, it's subtle. It's not like it's some big flashy, with a crazy color or whatever. This is just tasteful. It's clean.
yeah,
Just
and that's the thing.
yeah,
It's a stock. It's a stock
it looks
bolt. It's
just like
not
brand
some.
new. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks just like brand new. Like you just bought. Like you just went out and just spent ridiculous amounts of money, and they're just like, man, that guy's
yep.
nuts. He took all those bolts and cap plate, but it
Hmm.
really does change the entire look and feel of the car. You're almost to
This
that
is the
point.
garage. It
Yeah.
pop the hood.
Pop the hood.
Pop the hood.
Pop the hood. Check out all my cap plated bolts or my nickel plated bolts.
Well,
Yeah, but
I will say, it's just like you said earlier, though, how you begun this whole rant, which was every bolt. If I'm taking a part off a car, like I'll give you an example, I had to pull an alternator off. Every bolt I took off, I threw it into my tool bag immediately. So I don't even care
my
if I
tool
put the
bag. You
time in.
mean your tool bag? Because I know you didn't pay
My,
for the nuts and the
that
bolts.
or my prison wallet. Yeah, yeah,
You
one of
put
the
it in your
two.
prison wallet. Something. But
uh,
you're right.
yeah,
All the accessory and hardware bolts, that's a big thing. I always do that because you'd be surprised how much of that little stupid stuff that you're just like, damn, I wish I had this bracket or I wish I had that, and it's just like, man,
yeah.
yeah, for real. So
It's
anyway,
it's gone
but
really well. And by the way, guys, I mean I know, of course, things are different in different parts of the country, no matter where you're listening to us or seeing us from. So at
yeah,
least for us, I mean, I think we're pretty grateful that we're in a part of the country that relatively decent weather throughout the year. It's hot, but I mean it's not
we're in
unbearable.
Texas. But yeah, another thing too is like Mike touched on. We were talking about doing a rose trip when we were talking about the NV article, and from time to time, maybe it's worth just picking a route, like taking off for a Saturday and a Sunday and just picking like, we're going to go junking all that weekend. And
Yeah.
just, you got $400 in your pocket each, and you're just saying, okay, let's make some phone calls. Who's got what? And if you call a lot of junkyards, they'll pretty much give you an inventory of what they have.
Oh,
And if it's worth your while, you say, hey, look, I'm going to be driving in and out of town. Do you mind if I get a photo of what you got out there for those cars? I'd really appreciate it. And then we'll be out there and boom. And then you just take
mm.
all your tools with you and then go. I know it sounds super crazy,
Well, yeah.
but It's actually been one of the best and funnest times I've ever done with most of the guys that I know that I do that with.
Yeah,
I mean, we just take off. I mean, me and Mike have done it. Ion, I
yeah.
think I might have done it once or twice.
Well,
When we take long road trips, we sort through the back and the small towns and the junkyards. We look for them. That's what we do,
yeah.
and that's how we come up with all our weird stuff. So
W-
yeah.
What's really cool about that too is that you mentioned about inventory. Is that thanks to the being the was it 21st century or whatever, we you can go online. A lot of these record yards, at least the popular ones, are the ones that actually have some investment in them. Their entire inventory of cars is online, and you can search through it. They'll even tell you what day that car came in. So yeah, if you're just randomly looking and you see a, let's say in this case, a 350Z or 300ZX that just came in the day before, you're like, you got to act on that one quick. I would say, how fast to react?
Well,
Like, you know what I mean?
what's funny is
Yeah,
like you would say that, and then it literally like there's a handful of people that I message,
yeah,
and I'm like, bro, we gotta go, and you're like, what? What are you talking about? Pack your bags. I'll be pick you up in an hour, and then
yeah,
like
yeah,
it literally is. That's how we roll, man. I mean, if you look, I mean, that's
yeah.
literally that happened. We tore that entire thing apart in a day. You know what I mean? And that was like
Yeah,
me, Ion, a couple of the other boys, and we ripped everything out of that sucker. But
yeah,
my point is that's kind of what it takes when the hobby level gets to that point. But don't, know your limits, know your space issues.
yeah.
If you are going to do the whole we're buying a whole car to strip down, make sure you got buddies that are as nerdtastic as yourself
That are
and
as
willing to go
clever with
that
the
level.
drum brake issues. Yeah.
Yeah, clever with the drum brake issues. Yeah, make sure somebody else has got a vehicle that can just rip the other car off like we did. But yeah,
Mhm.
just some helpful hints. I hope some of that helped out. It was a little bit of ranting and a little
Oh,
craziness,
I
but
love it, man. Again,
um,
that's what this is, man. Go, yeah.
we're definitely dorks. But want to talk about a hardcore nerd that knows everything and usually has pretty good feelers out. Ion, I actually brought it in. He goes clipsandfasteners.com. It's websites like
Mm.
those, and he's 100% accurate. I'm going to give him a nerd just for that one.
Nice. I actually have
But
one. Yeah.
yeah, go
I,
for
act-
it.
I actually have one story. It was actually just coincidence. We had a local club meeting last week, and we were talking about Salvage Yard deals in general. And what's funny about certain salvage yards, of course, that they have promotions. Promotions is what gets you in the door. You know,
Yep.
um, you know, in this case, or they have some where they're like, fill a 5 gallon bucket for $50. We don't care what's inside of it. Like those are some really cool opportunities sometimes, depending on what you're searching
Yeah,
for.
wheelbarrow days.
Yeah. Exactly. They have a
Yeah.
little limbo stick, as long as it fits underneath the stick, it's all yours for 500 or for $100 or something like that.
Yeah,
Those are.
I know it's crazy. Like, yeah.
There was
So
one though, man. This is a crazy story though. Our buddy, you know him, Ricky Press.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was telling a story where there was this one salvage yard in town, and they say, "Well, we give you it's a structured discount. So if you can get to the register by 9 a.m., you get 40% off. If you get there by 10 a.m., it's 30% off." And it keeps on going like until about 10%. Every hour you lose 10%, right? And this guy, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna beat this. So this is on a Saturday, this promotion, right? So he
Okay.
goes out on Friday, goes to the car, finds the car, and tears it all. He was pulling an engine and transmission. He's like, because you can't pull an engine and transmission from a salvage yard within an hour, right? So he goes on Friday
Right.
night or Friday, takes everything apart to where all he has is like 5 bolts, and the whole thing comes out, right? And he's all like, it's gonna be perfect. I'm gonna roll in here at 8, and I'm gonna pick this thing by 9 and pay for it. It's 40% off, right? He goes, he did that. The next day, he gets there at 8:05. Transmission's gone. Somebody already picked it before. So he did it. He did all the work,
All the work for somebody else.
and it was
Son of
for
a.
trying to get that deal, man, and it backfired. I was like, oh
Oh.
man, that's so heartbreaking sometimes. Um, one last thing. You know what? Someone had mentioned this too.
Imagine though, because that's the thing about, and there's a weird like silence that's in most junkyards. It's just like you and then like another guy like half a mile down the road. And like
Yeah.
sometimes when they're like taking stuff off and you'll just break it and you're just like, God damn it. And you just hear, You're so mad at yourself,
Oh yeah.
or or sometimes you win, you get it, and you're just like, damn. I mean, there's definitely, I mean, there's these crazy like pitfalls of just like success and loss that
Yes.
happens
Well,
in the dust of the junkyard.
well,
It's
that
crazy.
you bring up a really good point because you are right, man. I won't lie, man. There was a crank angle sensor that I was trying to get out that was seized, and
Uh-huh.
obviously it's a good part to have, and it broke on the way out, right? So I'm like, dang it, I ruined that part. But the beauty of it was that I didn't pay for it yet. So I think what I'm saying that too is that for those who are even like very new to the automotive, like they just want to know what their car is, how it's put together. Like honestly, the salvage yard could be used as a classroom in many cases where you can go out there, tear some things apart, get to know what you're really after, you learn some things and you're not really buying anything per se.
Yeah.
That way, you can take all that knowledge, go to your car, and hopefully make a lot less mistakes and
Yeah.
pricey mistakes too.
I will say this though, if you're one of those guys, and he's actually on tonight, but like Chris Pata, when I first met Chris,
Yeah.
amazingly fanatical Z32 guy, but he didn't have an opportunity to like churn on a lot of cars, so going to the junkyard was an open opportunity for him to basically go out there and trial and error and break whatever he needed to break to get stuff off. And really, that's where I really learned how to really tear stuff apart. I knew how stuff was going to break or how it was going to come apart nicely and neatly.
Yep.
I learned how to fender roll in a junkyard. So I went to a
Oh.
junkyard. Yeah. So I've had a fender rolling business for a better part of a decade, and I'll leave it off. If you're local, I care. If you're not local, don't worry about it. But I learned how to fender roll ultimately in a junkyard, and the reason why is I would just come with my fender roller. I'd come at 8 a.m. and I would basically, they didn't care, and I just gave them like a few bucks, and I would pick all day long. And while I was picking, I would just set up the car and I would learn to fender roll out there
Mm.
and learn how things are going to break, how the car feels, how the roller feels. And I learned to start customizing all my rollers to the cars and get the best rolls and the angles and things that I needed. And I could nerd out about fender rolling forever. But anyway, my point is
Mhm.
that there's a lot of opportunity there in the junkyard. And it really is a pretty cool place to go. And there's a lot of education.
Yeah.
Chris goes in, he goes, "Yeah, pick my fair share of parts. Miles rolled my fenders." Yeah. So, yeah.
You know what's funny? Honestly, this is a funny story. Good friend of who's a good friend of mine. Well, we call him Redford, right?
Yeah.
You know Redford. He
Yeah.
w- I really first met him in the middle of a junkyard. Like we were both in the Z section or the Nissan section of the lot, and he had come to a club meeting like let's say 2 months before. He was like a one timer, and it was just coincidence. I go, dude, I know you, and we kind of talked for a few minutes, and sure enough, he started coming back to the club meetings more and more often, and now I mean he's like a club officer for God's sakes. It's just kind of crazy the way you make friends while you're out there too. It's and that was easily 8
Yeah.
years ago. So
Yeah,
it's
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 true.
it's
I've
fun.
actually met people out there and then seen them later in passing, or we would get to talking about cars and be like, "Hey, what do you need? Like, do you need something?" I was like, "Yeah," and we would just kind of do this like weird car part drug deal like thing, and people
Yeah.
would call you. It's like, what do you look for? Oh, I got that at the home. Call me. And but the thing is, it kind of goes back to that like that Z community, and that's kind of and it kind of ties in with what we do here.
Yeah.
That's with this is all we really care about is kind of creating a community, bringing it closer together, giving us a chance to kind of occasionally chat and talk just like this.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about. It's all about keeping the cars on the road. And some of the best friends that I have in this world just happen to kind of blossom out of the Z community. You and some of the folks that are on with us tonight, Ion,
Yeah.
Chris. I mean, I absolutely love those guys. Jesse
Mhm.
Sotelo.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like you said
again,
earlier too. You get to know these guys, and kind of like how the background I have. I did it for a reason because it's like it's conversations like this that'll leave you out in a parking lot late at night, nothing going on. And that's why I got the background of an empty parking lot. So I was like, I think it's a perfect setting for a conversation like this.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like how many times like car nerds will just basically we'll be out talking, and we'll just. I mean, I can go to car meets, I can go to car shows, I can go to car events, but like you'll start to pick up dust, as it were, and you people start conversating and talking, and next thing you know, there's like 15 of you just sitting around talking, and like, hey, it's 10 o'clock, we gotta shut the lights off. You guys look weird.
The
Or the
manager comes
employees
out. Yeah.
the employees are kind of worried about you guys in the parking lot. We closed our doors an hour ago. Did you need something? Like just so, but yeah, that's all I kind of wanted to say.
Yep.
Again, yeah, good stories, Mike. You feel
Yeah,
like you
man.
got it all out tonight? You feel like you got it all out?
I feel good. Yeah. I mean, because this whole topic to me started this last weekend, and I was like, you know what, this would be a great conversation to have. And honestly, it's worth revisiting, dude, because there's always a new story that comes back around. So maybe later on we can pick it up again some other time.
Well, we got to close out the night here with a few events upcoming this week. Let's go ahead and switch gears into events. This upcoming a week of February 18th through the 20th, if you happen to be in the Austin area, Austin, Texas is going to be hosting Super Lap Battle again this year over at Circuit of the Americas. Check that out at superlapbattleusa.com. You can still get them $12 online tonight. I don't know when they stop that deal. Probably going to be tomorrow.
Pretty soon. Yeah.
$20 day of. If you get a chance, go and check it out. You're going to have, as far as Nissan being at that location, we know for a fact, Life Motorsports is going to make their way out to that. For those that don't know, that's the car that's been all over Super Lap Battle, the massive GTR, which we've shown on the show a few times, who's coincidentally going to be making a run up to Pikes Peak this year as well. So definitely want to go out there, check it out. Me and Mike and some of the other boys from the group are going to be attending. I don't think
Yep.
collectively we figured out what day we're going to go. I think Sunday is looking like the day we might be going to party, but maybe Saturday and Sunday. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll
So
figure it
but
out.
we will
Yep.
definitely be there at one point or another, snapping some photos. Anybody's around, come hang out with us.
Yep.
We always
Message us.
welcome anybody. Yeah, message us and just let us know when you're in town. We'll go, dude. So, right. What else do we got coming down the pipeline, Mike?
Moving on to the next event, we're talking about Branson Z Fest, happening June 1st through the 5th, happening in Branson, Missouri. So this is actually another event that we plan on to go to.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
I have
actually
my
our first
calendar kind of
time.
cleared for this. Yeah, I think we have our calendar cleared for the most part. So we definitely. I've never. I would love to go to this event. I haven't gone and really experienced the full aspect of it, but I'm super excited about going. So
Yep.
yeah, I want to do it. I'm in. Let's do it this
I've
year.
yeah.
It looks like a super great event. They
Yep.
definitely put a lot of thought, and it's
Yep.
developed, and I feel like there's a huge resurgence on this event.
Yep.
So if you get a chance to check it out, I'd highly recommend it this year. But talk about the dates, Mike. Talk about what's happening this year.
Yeah, a series of events happening, we might call sub events that are happening throughout the entire 5 days of Branson Z Fest. You can see here on the schedule, of course, you got various social gatherings, dinners, maybe a little bit of booze being passed around, having some fun. It is very much a social gathering. Of course, no driving on those nights, very safe as well. We've got some extreme karting happening on Wednesday. I'm looking here also game nights. Thursday. Now you are in Branson, Missouri, which is sort of a tourist destination. I haven't been before, so it's going to be new to me. I'm looking pretty. I'm looking up, looking up to it, looking forward to it. And then lots of cruise opportunities to get out there. So there are some guided cruises, and then there's a lot of them you can just go out on your own, get a few buddies, find a road because you're out there in close to the Ozark area. So a lot of twisty roads out into some hills. So it can be a lot of fun while you do that. And then lastly, of course, you've got some car shows, closing ceremonies happening near the end of the show. I guess it says here again, yeah, starting on Wednesday, and the send off is on Sunday morning. Yeah, I'm making plans. We'll be out there. For those who are interested, you definitely need to get yourself into a hotel at the host hotel, preferably. I believe this year the way it works, I believe you have to call the hotel and let them know what block you're in. So I'm sure you can go to bransonzfest.org and it'll give you all the details on how to do that.
All
How's
right,
that for
I'm
you?
in. Yeah, I say we
Yeah.
go this year and we'll have a good time. But yeah, kudos to Josh and his entire army of volunteers for doing it. I mean, putting these events together is no easy task, and we just want
Mhm.
to say thank you to them for putting this event together and continuing it on with its legacy. They're doing a great job. Love you guys, and
Yeah.
like I said, we'll see you soon. So,
Cool. Cool.
um,
Last one, Miles. Of course, we're talking about the 35th annual ZCon 2022 happening in Birmingham, Alabama. This is actually about not about what do you call it, about 2 months after Branson, July
mhm.
25th to the 30th. Uh, Birmingham, Alabama. I've been before, maybe a few times, and it's actually a really nice town. Um, the the local car club, which is the Iron City Z Club, is hosting this event. Again, the main thing, whether you're thinking about it or not, two things is that track day. If you're interested in track day, get it now while it's still available. They might even be sold out by now. It just depends on how much time we have left. There are actually two track days for this event, which is like one of the first times, one of the only times that ZCon has actually done that. So that's a really big plus for you track junkies. And then the same thing with the host hotel. Book ahead as soon as you can. You can go to zcon.org to get more details on that. And that's events,
All
Miles.
right.
Yeah.
That's events. Yeah, we might have left some stuff off, but guess what? You should have told us about it. So if you
Yeah.
know that there's events that are coming around, let us know. Bert was talking about. He said, "Is it nostalgic? 2 days this weekend." I think he's
Ooh.
right, but I think that's Japan. See here. Note that it matters. Not that it matters because Japan is still closed. Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's definitely a good event happening in Japan. Yeah, we got to keep. You know what, Mike? That's actually a good point.
What's up?
Bert, we need to keep. We may not be able to attend some of the stuff in Japan, but at least we can drop the dates for our family all around the world that might be listening in or jumping in from time to time.
Yeah.
Giving the dates,
You
for like Nismo Fest and stuff like that.
you are right. I mean, honestly, dude, based on our data, our listenership is more than just the US market. So we do have listeners in Japan, so we definitely owe it to them.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
got two listeners in Canada. I'm just kidding. We're
Hey man,
global. We're global at
we're,
this time.
we're doing it for the people, okay? No.
It's true, actually. I mean, we don't do this we do this for you guys out there. And like I said, it only works if you kind of feed us some of the information that's happening in your neck of the woods. And also, if there's something that you want to talk about, don't be shy. We've got an email, and we have complete services that you can reach out to us and talk to us. I mean, we always listen and we always respond. So let us know. This is your community. Help us build it.
That sounds good, Miles. Again, yeah. If we haven't mentioned it before, you mentioned various social media outlets. We actually just revised our NissanNerd.com webpage. We've actually just given some updates, added the YouTube channel on it. That way, again, you can find us on various outlets. We, of course, we have the Facebook page. We are building up our Instagram page as we speak. So if you are a fan and use that often, find us, add us, like us, get us connected with you, and that's just another way we can connect with you and have some fun. YouTube will have a recap of all these videos, the video version, obviously, and of course, all of our podcast networks. You name it, we're on there. Most major podcast networks. You can find us and get the audio version of this one. So far so good. Again, of course, if you want to find us directly, info at nissannerd.com. That takes you directly to our inbox. Just like Miles said, all of your events that are happening in your area, whether it's in the US, worldwide, just just, just write us. It's okay.
Drop a line.
please
Let
please
us know.
yeah.
Call me. And
Call me.
yeah, we'll go from there. So, but again, thanks for everybody for staying on with us tonight, parting with us a little
This
bit.
was a good
We
time.
want to
Yeah.
say thank you. We wouldn't be doing this without your input. I want to give you guys a little compi. So, with
All
that
right,
on the
man.
way out,
You're right. Let's do
I want to
this,
say
man.
for me personally, compi.
Mm,
Boom.
boom. Come by,
And
guys.
get in your garage, make something cool. That's all I got, Mike. You got anything else?
No, that'll do it, man. Guys, have fun.
All
We
right.
will have another episode coming up soon. Of course, just keep
Yep.
us connected, and we'll do it. We'll do it again.
Yeah. See you guys. You stay
All
safe,
right.
guys. All right.
Let's go for it.
Product placement. Let me see. I haven't eaten all day. I'm like starving. You want a piece, Mike? I'll say it to you. Fuck. Save your
Yeah, man.
space.
Is that a what kind of crust is that? Is that a doughy crust or is that a no, just is it gluten free? Yeah, right.
It's not good for you. Let's start. But go ahead and sign off unless you want to watch me eat a whole pizza. So,
Hey, everybody, stay online. Yeah.
and like, it's gonna be good. All slices. I will eat it all. So, thank you guys. You
All right,
guys have
guys.
a good night. Go home.
Go
Go home.
home.
Get the garage. Go have the garage.